Hi guys, my name is Nick. Welcome to my channel. Um, Today's video is about news. Let's look at what's happening in the crypto world. Let's kick off with the first bullish news. Um, Argentina may adopt Bitcoin to curb inflation. So a reporter asked the president of Argentina. In the video, he mentioned that Fernandez was the president of Argentina, said his outlook on cryptocurrencies, saying that their rise was irreversible and that crypto has potential to nullify inflation. So when asked that, do you want to make this as a legal tender, he said there's no reason to say no. Eventually, he went back and he tweeted saying the conversation surrounding cryptocurrencies is a global one, and I must confess that it is a matter that needs to be treated with care. For me, there is still a lot I don't know about cryptocurrencies, but there's no denying it. Perhaps it's a good path to take. I think the point here is, look, more and more countries, the politicians are getting involved and they're looking at blockchain technology as well as cryptocurrencies in particular more positively. Um, as you might have heard about the infrastructure bill in the US that's getting passed soon. There was one problem in that infra bill was the definition of broker, uh, which is, to be honest, is an absolute bearish news. It's not a good thing for businesses based out of the US because, as per the definition of broker, any validators, any miners, all of these have to take information from their customers. They should do a proper KYC, even developers, right? So that is kind of a very bearish news for any businesses based out of US. So mainly retail businesses. You as you know, you can set up your own validator node. You can, if you are a developer, you can create your own DeFi projects. If you do so, then you are required by that law, by the infrastructure bill, to get information from anyone who's using your service, which is technically at this stage is not feasible. Um, so it is kind of a very bearish news. But you might be wondering, why is crypto still pumping? That's the thought that I had. It's a very bearish news. Why is crypto still pumping? Why is Bitcoin still pumping? I think the reason why it's pumping is, I was watching the Coinbase president's interview the other day. I think she had a very valid point. The reason it's pumping is because for the first time in the history of crypto, that a bill of 1.5 trillion dollars was stopped or at least halted to get the wording right when it comes to crypto. So that itself is an absolute huge win for the crypto industry. So that, I think, was a key moment. And you can see the market is already pumping. It might go, it might probably touch 100K by end of the year. So it's an usual cycle. So if you remember the B word conference that happened between Elon Musk, um, Jack Dorsey, and Kathy Wood, that was actually the day. I think a day or two later, there was a dump. It came down to 29K, and after that, it's just gone up. So there are more and more institutional investors coming into the market. So I think that's where it is. And I think countries like Argentina, countries like Brazil, Panama, Paraguay, all of these countries are also looking at it. From an Indian context, um, India is slowly opening up to the technology. I can see more and more people talking about crypto, even amongst my friend circle, who've always said crypto is a scam and I don't believe in crypto. They have slowly started to talk about crypto. So that itself is a huge when more and more people get into the industry. I think we'll see a lot of growth, right? So this was one news. The next one, I think, very interesting one was the Poly Networks hackers returns all funds on Ethereum and refuses to take a 500k bug bounty. So I'm not sure if you've been following the news. There was a massive major hack on Poly Network. Close to $650 million was siphoned off from that network. What it did was, I think the hacker himself did not realize the intensity of that hack. Right, a $600 million heist is a huge thing, right? It got all the cybersecurity experts around the world, especially in the US. They got the US government. Everyone started looking at it, right? So there have been a lot of hacks in the past few months, especially the DeFi hacks, and they've always been in small numbers. There's been flash loan attacks, this attack, that attack. It's only around 5 million, $8 million, so it goes under the radar. But this guy did a 600 million, and I think he got stuck. So what did he do? He went out and he said, now he's going to return the money back to Poly Network. And Poly Network, interestingly, they've gone out and called him as the white hat hacker, and they even gave him a bounty of 500k, saying, thank you found a bug in our code, which apparently is refused. Calling him a white hat hacker in itself is probably wrong, because I don't think he had any intentions of giving it back. I think the amount of money he has siphoned off brought a lot of people's attention, which scared him off. And I think the only way he felt the way out for him was returning the money. Well, that's what's been happening. In the same context, there's one more news which I wanted to talk about was cyber criminals are turning blockchain analytics to their advantage. So in the recent past, there have been a lot of cyber attacks and where cryptocurrencies has been used. The recent, I think the US attack, the oil. I can't remember the exact one. The attack which happened in the US, which cut off the oil refineries, access to oil refineries, etc. That attack was again, the entire ransom was through Bitcoin, and the FBI was able to seize about half the ransom amount that was paid. Of course, the way they seized it was, these hackers were dumb enough to store their private keys on a laptop. I think they got hold of that laptop and they were able to access it. But the point is, in the current world, because these are all open ledger, the government is able to track any of these funds, right? They're able to, and there are companies like, I think, Elliptic, and there's one more, Chain Analysis. I think these are the companies which are doing great job in tracking fraudulent transactions. So that's where the hackers or people who've been using cryptocurrencies for ransom are struggling today. So very recently, I think today, there's a news that has come out wherein in the dark web they have a tool called anti-analysis. There's a new tool that lets users check which Bitcoin addresses may be linked to criminal activity. It runs on Tor. Tor is and was created by one of the developers of Incognito Market. So it's in dark web. So what this essentially does is, so Chain Analysis, Elliptic, these are some of the companies which track fraudulent transactions. They look at your wallet. They trace your the transactions that have flown into the wallet, flown out of the wallet. So that's the beauty of blockchain, right? So I think using this tool, I think it provides you an input saying, hey, when you move your funds around using a mixer or any of these aspects, just make sure that you don't use ABCD wallets, because they're already been flagged as fraudulent wallets. So I think the anti-analysis tool is providing that information to criminals, right? How effective it is, I don't know. I read an article somewhere that it's not very effective. It's just pretty fake. But I've seen the similar article in a lot of places. I think there is some truth to it. There is some effectiveness in this tool. That's why it's made the headlines. uh, I think tools like these are going to bring bad name to cryptocurrency in reality. But yeah, these things exist. There's no other way to get rid of these. They're on dark web. Criminals use it. um, I think the beauty of cryptocurrencies is you follow the money, and you will be able to catch the perpetrators at some point or the other, right? In the same lines, the next news was around Coinbase. Well, I didn't know this. Coinbase forensic software purchased by US Customs and Immigration. And Coinbase has been making an attempt to work with the government agencies in the past, specifically for analysis and monitoring. Besides the immigration and customs agencies, it has been awarded a contract by Secret Service as well. So the exchange has a strong emphasis on compliance and working with the government, which appears to be paying off. I think Coinbase, as you know, since its IPO, I've been following Coinbase very closely. There's been a lot of great things that are happening with Coinbase. They are getting very close to the government. They're trying to regulate everything that's possible from a Coinbase perspective, or from a crypto perspective. USDC, they deal with USDC because US government is very worried about USDT, which I completely agree. So they deal with USDC. Circle is planning to go public. They're also thinking about going public. So it's kind of the regulated stable. It might become the regulated stable currency. And interestingly, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, met the Coinbase CEO in May to discuss about CDBC. So there's a lot of positive and positive things that are happening with Coinbase. I think um, for the future of crypto, this is important. I think bringing in regulation in crypto, I know a lot of DeFi guys will disagree with me, which is okay. But I think if more and more institutional investors are to come into the market, if you need big bonds, if you want superannuations, if you want pension funds, all of these guys to come into the market, into crypto market, then you need strong regulation. Okay, that is when your money, a Bitcoin, can touch $1 million or $10 million. If that has to happen, there has to be strong regulation. That is a given, right? So today, if you see, the bond market is huge. It's like, you can't even imagine how big it is. So for Bitcoin or the crypto market to replace that bond market, there needs to be a lot of regulation that needs to come into play. And that's why I think Coinbase is kind of spearheading that, which is a good thing for the overall market. On the contrary, Binance is having trouble after trouble. I think the way they are associated with USDT is the main reason for all their issues recently. Okay, I know Binance has had a lot of other issues as well. Their high leverage trading, 100x leverage trading, didn't go well with regulators. So that's reduced to 20x leverage now. So the important part there is, I think, if all the exchanges follow that lower leverage trading, I think the volatility of Bitcoin will also reduce, which is good for the market. So because a lot of investors don't invest in Bitcoin because they think that there's wild swings of 30-40% of the their money, which obviously scares a lot of people off. If that movement doesn't happen, the volatility is not that high, then I think you see a lot of investors. One thing I've noticed in the recent past, I'm sure you guys have also noticed, the volatility with Bitcoin has been slightly stable. We've not had wild runs like 20%, 30% in a day, and wild drops in 30-40% in a day. I think this is probably to do with the high leverage tradings being cut off from the likes of Binance. So if more and more exchanges reduce their high leverage tradings, I think the volatility will reduce, which in itself is a good thing. So Binance has has been asked to stop trading pairs with Korean currency KRW. So they've kind of stopped all of that. Um, so as you know, there've been a lot of issues with Binance. There's been, regulators have been really taking them on. In the long run, look, I don't know whether Binance will still be the number one. I think I feel Coinbase might at one point be the largest exchange, and followed by FTX. FTX is doing very well. They're kind of, they had a tie up with Binance. They broke away from Binance, so everybody is kind of isolating Binance. So it'll be interesting to see how Binance is going to come out of all of this. One thing I've realized is, if you're going to be big in crypto, you have to be friends with the government. If you're not, then I think the entire all the world forces will be against you, and that's exactly what's happening with Binance. So that's all I had for today's news. Hope you guys liked it. Um, I'll try to come daily, upload daily news. Something I want to do on a regular basis. I hope you guys like it. Please, if you did, please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. It'll encourage me. I can show you a lot of other content as well. All right. Until next time. See ya.